Teen suicide. What's wrong and what needs to change? My friends, my name is Jeff Yalden, teen mental health, suicide prevention, and suicide crisis intervention expert. I've spent 25 years working in schools and teen mental health and working with school communities. Every week, I have families and school communities reach out to me asking for help in their own communities. It's one suicide after another. I mean, just this week, Southern California, Idaho, Texas, Ohio had 3 youth suicides in 4 days. In another community, 3 in 1 day, but 9 since August. Canada, New Hampshire, South Carolina, Indiana, and Missouri. Every day, my friends, and these are just the ones that I'm hearing about. So I've had a few people reach out after this recent suicide by a young sophomore at Corona Del Mar High School in Southern California. My friends, I'm sorry. In my career, I deal with this every day and it's never easy. Before anything, I'd like to send my thoughts and prayers to the immediate families, to all the friends, the teachers, to all the school communities, and to all surrounding communities that are asking questions and seeking answers. It's not so easy to dissect teen suicide today, but if you give me this opportunity, I might be able to shed a little light and help you out a little bit. My friends, this just isn't my career. This is my life. I'm a man that lives with mental illness. I know. I have an illness that is not easily noticed by others. Many of us do, but I'm proud to admit mine, because having learned to accept it, I finally became the man that I want to be. Having said that, I want to address a few things today's youth are struggling with. First, understand teen suicide is rarely the cause of one thing. Mostly I hear bullying. I understand. And I also know schools have a zero tolerance policy, but schools can't monitor what happens outside of school and cyberspace. This is largely a parenting issue and a police issue. Bullying or cyberbullying can certainly be the straw that breaks the camel's back, but teen suicide is bigger than just one thing. 90% of teen suicides, the underlying cause is mental illness. I have videos and online courses that explains all this for families and school communities and teachers. You can visit jeffyalden.com/online courses for that information. But here's some major issues affecting our youth. Academic pressure. Academic pressure of having to be what they're not sure they know they want to be at this age. Our young people are growing up slower than in decades of the past, yet the pressures are greater. This obviously causes a lot more stress on the individual and pressure. They're disappointing the trusted adults, parents, or teachers. And they have a feeling of disappointment. They're left to feel, they feel like they're a burden. Listen, I'm pro-education, but I think we've created too much emphasis on creating and maintaining a system that our communities and our country has demanded from us over the past 20 years, since college admissions mania went into this hyperdrive, since vocational training programs were dismantled, and since earning A's in AP classes have become the norm. This is pressure on teachers, administration, and counselors, and now parents and students are really feeling the pressure, and it's affecting everybody. What happened to the days when school and teen years was just a time of figuring out who you are? Let me ask you a question. Who's the hardest person to get to know? That's right. I ask that every day, and every audience says the same thing. Us, ourselves, me. That's right. Yet we're pressuring our youth too much that they don't have time or the ability to figure themselves out, because society has such high expectations of who they have to be. It's like we want them to grow up and be who we think they should be, not who they want to be. When we grew up, nobody asked us what our GPA was, and it was cool to work on the roof of a house. But this competitive culture has significantly impacted our young adults, our teenagers. We endlessly discuss test scores, national merit scholarships, reading scores, AP scholars, comparisons to other school districts. And this is when we start losing our collective souls and our children. We often shield our students from failure. We think that earning a C in a class is the end of the world, and we don't allow our students to advocate for themselves, yet we keep asking our students to speak up when something isn't right. But we don't have time to listen because we have to perform, and so now our kids are saying, nobody listens when I speak up. And our kids look at their teachers and the counselors, administrators, and they say, well, you have to say that because you work here. This is your job. Our success as teachers and administrators is how well our students do. And where are we ranked? And how many kids go to college? And what colleges are they going to? So our young people aren't ready for college. Yet we're throwing these demanding expectations at our youth, and then our kids are graduating college with $200,000 in debt and not finding a job in their major, or their major isn't really what they want to do. So they have this debt and they're working in another field that has nothing to do with what they went to college for. Now they feel more like a burden and start to feel alone because what they want isn't what you've wanted for them, and this causes distension in the family. Then our kids are living at home at 24 years old, living in the basement, watching late night television or gaming, playing on social media, sitting in the fluffy beanbag chair naked, eating Doritos, contemplating why life isn't working out for them. Yeah, I get it. There's pain in their hearts of nobody understands me, and I'm disappointing people. I'm a burden. I'm alone. Nobody understands. We value our military and praise our soldiers and veterans, but we devalue military service for our own children. This sends mixed messages. We say, hooray for those students who enter the armed forces and who want to work with their hands, who don't want to be weighed down with the burden of being perfect in high school, and who earn a C in a tough class and are just proud of themselves. Yet if that is our child, we're not as excited as we say for those other kids when we say, hooray! It's hooray for them, but our kid is better. It's during these bumpy times that we can applaud a C. Applaud a student going to the military or junior college. Properly support failure with introspection, not blame. Take an 85 or an 89.5% as a B+ in stride and applaud a student in one of the CTE pathways. My friends, it's the sum of our experiences that should always outweigh the sum of our bank accounts. That's right. We must reach the point where if our sons and daughters don't live a perfect young adult experience, it's not the end of the world. It's simply an opportunity to lift the sails and head in another direction. We need to start now. We need to change our expectations of our kids doing better than us to being proud of our kids and our community, our schools, and our families. All of us as a community have to get to this point if we want to avoid our students feeling shamed, isolated, worthless, alone, and a burden. This all leads to maybe that desire of suicide, mental illness, depression. But we can't do this alone. We parents and schools have to all be on the same page, and this means parents accepting your kid might not be a lawyer, doctor, professional athlete, but if your child wants to travel or work with their hands, you're proud of him or her. This also means our schools need to stop focusing on where we are compared to the other schools in the county. Let's focus on our kids and our community. Let's praise our teachers and coaches for just doing the best job they can to teach our kids morals and values, coping skills and problem-solving skills. Let's praise our trusted adults who work with our kids and focus more on the whole student and their self-worth than who society wants them to be. We live in a world now where this isn't what you want for your child because you've raised them to think bigger and want more. Our society and sports programs demand so much for our young people who participate, and parents have bought into the system that this is what is going to get my kid to college and earn them a scholarship and take care of us when we're retired. What happened to playing for the love of the game and enjoying time with friends and sportsmanship? My friends, we need to talk a good game, but Yet secretly we're wanting to be better than the neighbors and pushing our kids to be better than the other kids. Yeah, we talk a good game. It's like we're embarrassed if our children want to attend vocational training schools or community college instead of a big 4-year university. Let me ask you another question. Is the value of education worth the cost of education today? Now, you probably say, no. Exactly. Then why are we buying into a business that is for themselves but doesn't benefit our children? Now, maybe some, I get it. We need to focus on a few things here. Social and emotional learning in our schools and our families. Developing the self-esteem of our children. Not that we say, hey, man, you're beautiful, you're smart, you're strong, you can do this, you can do that. We need that our kids, when we say it, they believe in themselves, what we should be saying to them. We need to encourage their passion in life, and whatever that is, we want them to go for it and figure it out. Coping skills and problem-solving skills, I can't say enough about it. Listen, we can't fix life or pave the path for our kids. We need to support and encourage their growth and be there to help navigate their journey and figuring out who they are and where they're headed in their journey of life. Life isn't a race, but we're all racing to be number one. Life is a journey, and our biggest rewards are the challenges we face and overcome, the obstacles we meet and we beat. I mean, where does self-esteem come from? It comes from having fears and beating them, overcoming them. It comes from life's challenges and facing them. It comes from love and unconditional support from our family and our friends. We need to get back to some of the simpler things in life and raising our children in the home and educating our students in the schools. Why is it that today only 3% of our kids are graduating and going to vocational schools? This is disappointing and quite scary. Our kids are not teacups. They're meant to be bumped around from time to time. They grow and they figure themselves out during these tough times. Listen, as we've all grown and become parents and good neighbors and make our communities what they are, we've learned that life doesn't happen to us. But through everything that we've been through, both good and bad, life has shaped us and taught us. You see, we are what we go through. We learn from what we've dealt with. Therefore, life every day happens for us. Teach our kids that. Teach your kids what is really important. If you ask me, I think 3 things have made a difference in my life. Self-respect, value yourself, believe in yourself. Number 2, attitude. It's a little thing that makes a big difference, and we come to crossroads every single day, and it's the choices you make. But in those crossroads of life, it's the choices we make and the attitude that we have. Our tomorrow isn't guaranteed, but our tomorrow is nothing more than an extension of what today is. It's pretty simple, actually. Encourage your kids to pick up a book. Or better yet, what is awesome is today's kids are growing up in the greatest era of any generation. They have Google and YouTube. All the information and education is out there. Silicon Valley isn't asking, where'd you go to school today? No, they're asking, what did you do? Encourage your kids to tear apart a computer and build their own. As a matter of fact, how about doing it with them? What an opportunity. Time together, meaningful time, learning, teaching, and figuring it out. Another thing, if I may, I'm sorry, I know I'm going on and on, but my friends, cell phones and social media. Let me tell you something about teens, cell phones, and social media. Yes, this is greatly affecting our young people, and it's only getting worse. Our adolescents are on a much deeper path to destruction, and our country is going to have a greater crisis on our hands if things don't change. The mental health professionals say that 4 or 5 hours a day on screen time is alarming and cause for great concern and probability of a higher degree of percentage of mental illness, depression, despair, isolation, loneliness, self-harm, and thoughts of suicide. They say the safe zone is really 1 to 2 hours a day. Our young children are already using more than 4 or 5 hours of screen time a day. I'm deeply concerned about this direction that we're on. We've given our youth these awesome devices that can really help us and make things so much easier, but we're not teaching responsibility, balance, and boundaries. What we're doing is reacting and trying to make excuses that we should start school later and give kids more time to sleep. No. What we need to do is have more parent involvement, where you're a parent and not your child's best friend. You're parenting and teaching balance, boundaries, time out, and with all the rights and privileges our children have, yet they're not emotionally responsible to handle this. We probably would do our kids a great service if we introduced them to mindfulness, breathing, and meditation, time out, cell phone free Sundays. Our kids need 3 things that will make an incredible difference every day in their lives, and parents need to model this and set the example. Schools need to address this and encourage it as well. Number 1, our kids need sleep. 8 to 9 hours, they say, our children, our teens, of sleep. That's right. And if your kid's ugly, they need more. Number 2, nutrition. Our youth are consuming over 200 grams more sugar a day than what is healthy in a 24-hour period. You know what's directly related to depression? Sugar. Schools and homes need to get rid of high sugar fruit juices and sodas. Encourage more water. Also, processed foods and being so busy that fast food is the best option. That's not helping. We push our kids so hard and expect so much, yet we've lost the dinner time meals and the meaningful conversations. All of this has led to earbuds and screen time, practices, tournaments, and parents now asking, why am I just a chauffeur now? How did this happen so quickly? Everyone needs to slow down. Again, life isn't a race, it's a journey. Slower is faster and faster is slower. Here's the bottom line. Nothing changes if nothing changes. And so we all have a responsibility to change our perception and start reevaluating how we are raising our own kids and how we're educating our young people. But it starts with parenting. And if parents do a better job at home, our schools can do a better job in the classrooms and with sports and extracurricular activities and clubs. My friends, if I've offended anyone, I'm sorry. I hope you share this. I'm all about saving lives. And thanks for listening, my friends. I'm Jeff Yalden.